Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Mental Health Awakening. Me and Angela are joined by Chloe today, and today's topic is ways of overcoming trauma. So, Angela, over to you. If you can just give your introduction, I think most people are quite used to that now.
That's right. I'm still Angela Jackson, licensed professional counselor and national certification in the state of Tennessee, USA. Glad to be here partnering with the Connection of the UK. And I'm excited about this topic and excited about meeting our guest.
Yeah, well, thanks, Chloe, for coming on today. If you just want to give a little brief introduction of yourself.
Hi, so yes, my name's Chloe, but some of you may know me as FemRen or Empress Ren on TikTok. And yeah, I'm a Star Wars cosplayer, but I also, I'm very passionate about mental health as well. So that's why I'm here today.
Welcome.
Yeah, I think like it's gonna be a really good today because it is a sensitive topic, I think, but it's always good to talk about this kind of stuff because it raises that kind of awareness of how it makes us feel.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So and maybe to start off with, Chloe, if you could tell like everyone like why mental health is really important to you.
Yeah, sure. So I've battled with mental health issues since I was a teenager. I'm diagnosed with depression and anxiety, and I found that being very open about it has helped me a lot, and it's helped break the stigma around it. Because I always say, you know, mental health is no different to physical health. If you hurt yourself, break your leg, or you have like a heart problem or something, you wouldn't be scared about telling your family and friends about that. So I'm just very open about it and say, yeah, I have depression and anxiety, but I'm on medication and I'm doing a lot better. So yeah.
You made some great points about there being a stigma around mental health, and you're absolutely right. We're very casual about sharing if we have, a headache, chest pains, any type of medical diagnosis. But when it comes to our mental stability, there's always the big question mark. There's always the feeling of whether or not we make other people uncomfortable by talking about it. So absolutely, coming out, normalizing those conversations, that's huge. It's very important. And I think it's been a great awakening itself for our world. You hear more and more people talking about it. There's still that stigma there, but it's definitely still necessary.
I agree, definitely.
Yeah. Like just going on to anxiety a little bit, because anxiety is it's very important as well, because do you feel like when someone maybe says to you that don't worry about a certain thing, like if you're really stressed about a certain thing and someone else says don't worry about it, do you think that makes the anxiety worse if that happens?
A little bit. It's almost like you want to shake them and you're like, that doesn't help, sort of thing. Or I feel like they are trying to help, but they don't understand how to help, maybe. But yeah, I think if they just say something like, oh, don't stress, then it doesn't really help at all. You're not solving the situation there.
Yeah, it almost feels like the way that you feel in that moment is invalidated. It's almost like it's something. First of all, let me say this. If you could get over it, or if you could stop worrying about it, you probably would.
Exactly.
So it makes it seem like there's like it's not as severe. as what you're feeling or what you're dealing with. So yeah, that I can say that it's frustrating to hear things like that. So
Yeah,
I don't
it is.
I
Yeah.
don't know if it increases the anxiety, but it's definitely frustrating because it's like, well, what about how I feel? I want somebody to listen. I want somebody to,
Yes, yeah, 100%.
Yeah, because anxiety, like I have anxiety sometimes, and I'm not diagnosed with anxiety, but I suffer from it a lot, and it is hard, and like just to, I suppose, express your feelings, like how you're feeling to people, because you're unsure if they can understand like your anxiety. So it is very hard to talk about.
Yeah, I think you need to surround yourself with people who are very understanding. I was just thinking back to last time. I literally had a panic attack about a week ago or so. I was feeling really ill. I caught something off my boyfriend, like a flu or something, and I ended up collapsing, and I was freaking out, and I started having a panic attack. And I just text my boyfriend, like, I need help. And he came in, and he has mental health issues as well. So he really understood what to do with me. He's just stroking my hair, saying, everything's okay. I'm here for you and stuff. So it's definitely good to be surrounded by people who do understand.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I think that's good. Like in a way, it helps you that your boyfriend has like it's in the same boat in a way, like has understands mental health, um, and yeah, like you're completely right to surround yourself with the people that know, like that they understand, and the people who don't understand or if they're mean about it, just it's hard. Like if it's in real life, it's much harder, but if it's online, we can easily always block them, don't we?
Yeah.
But I think that's why there needs to be more education around mental health, so people do know how to react in certain situations. Yeah.
Yeah. So I know we're going to talk about ways to manage trauma. Tell us a little bit how you manage your anxiety and depression. What kind of tips would you share?
Well, I mean, it's an obvious one, but I went on medication, and I don't think there's anything wrong with medication. I think some people can be embarrassed about being on it, can feel ashamed, but I don't feel ashamed at all. I'm on one called venlafaxine. It's been amazing for me, and it's really helped balance my moods. I also I'm good with my breathing exercises when it comes to anxiety. Like doing square breathing and counting and things like that. But yeah, and also just thinking that it's okay, it's fine to feel that way, and I shouldn't be embarrassed about feeling that certain way if I am at the time.
Thank you for sharing that. Those are tools and techniques that I've heard before. They seem to work well for children, adolescents, adults. So I'm glad to hear you say you use the square breathing.
Yeah, I love square breathing. I'm a very visual person. No, I'm a very visual person, and very creative mind. So I have to kind of I have to draw the square in which is really silly, like a child, but it works for me. I do have to draw a square in the air, and it really helps me. So I think it all depends how your brain works. That won't work for other people who don't have a visual brain like me, but for people who do, I would really recommend just doing that and breathing in the rhythm as well.
Yeah, yeah. I suppose when you're doing that, Chloe, yeah, because you like Star Wars. It's like you've got the Force, haven't you? It's like you're doing that.
Oh yeah, using the Force. That's true. Didn't think about it like that.
Yeah. Like it's very good that you're like you do that, because it can be square, it can be lines, circles. It's very good, and like like speaking of a panic attack, they are very hard because like that's a breathing exercise as well, because you do find it hard to breathe, don't you, when you have sort of panic attacks, and they can be very sudden, like very not approached, like you don't know if it's gonna happen at that precise moment. So it is all about dealing with it when it kind of happens in a way.
Yeah, definitely.
And you know, something that's interesting about panic attacks is that you don't have to have an anxiety diagnosis to experience them. Anybody could be in a situation and they feel that surge of emotions all at once. And then, you know, like you said, the deep breathing is necessary there. And also, and I'll reference the square breathing, it also gives you something to focus on. You know, sometimes it's heavy to focus on what's going on inside of your head and inside of your body. So focusing on things that are outside, kind of manually gathering your attention in other places definitely helps. So some people may not realize that, but yeah, you don't necessarily have to be diagnosed with anxiety to experience a panic attack. I know some people feel like they're having a heart attack in those moments and they think it's something of that nature, but it definitely can be triggered by something psychological.
Yeah, it feels very well. I can't actually say because I've never had a heart attack, so I can't really comment on that. But
I can't either. I have to go with what I've been told. It must feel like one.
Yeah, your heart's pumping, isn't it? Like I've only, as far as I know, I've only had one. It wasn't nice because I was at the football. I was at like my local football team, and it was to do with my Crohn's actually, because I was really pain and I was panicking about that, and like I had to stay still. And then I got to the stage where because you know you had the turnstiles in the football grounds, like where you go in and out the stadium. I tried to exit it that way. I said I was saying let me out, because I needed the space where no one was, because of course it's football stadiums, it's packed, isn't it, with lots of people. You didn't really want people to look at me and stuff, so they didn't let me out. They didn't let me out. They said you can't, it's only one way. And then I think I tried to I did calm down a little bit, even though everyone was looking at me. They told me you have to go around the back, like another way out. But yeah, like it's very not nice, a panic attack. But I can imagine, because you do feel your heart pumping a lot, don't you?
Yeah, heart palpitations.
Yeah. You have that. And what actually happened is, after that panic attack, I got brought into the medic area actually, and it was right outside. I could see the pitch of the stadium, because the game was ongoing. And what happened then? He said he had like not Crohn's, like a similar thing, like but and then I was calmed down, and then I said to my dad, I asked him if I can go meet the players or something like that. Because I was near enough. I could near enough walk out to the pitch, and I didn't have the energy to ask myself, so all the confidence, so I didn't. But that was an experience. I think we all have those experiences when we do have a panic attack, but it's not something we wish upon.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Yeah.
So Chloe, lead us into the topic.
Oh, I don't know how to start. Where do you want me to start?
Well, let's see here. If you're comfortable, is it a personal experience that has been traumatic, that has, allowed that space to, have ways to, oh my goodness, I'm getting tongue-tied. So has it been your personal experience with trauma that has led you steps of how to manage it. There we go.
There we go. You got it. So yeah, I'm very open. I can literally talk about anything because I don't really have a filter when it comes to what's happened to me, because I don't see that there should be one. But yeah, when I was a teenager, I didn't have the best life. Went through a lot of emotional, physical bullying. Didn't have a great home life. It was very, very isolated and lonely. And I remember that really was the first point of where my mental health issues came. I remember I got my first boyfriend, and I would say to my mum, like, oh, I don't want to go on a date with him. I just don't want to. I have a funny feeling, and not knowing at the time that was actually anxiety, and just silly things like that, like, oh, I don't like meeting him at the train station because that's not me. I'd say I just have a funny feeling. And looking back, I'm like, well, that was anxiety, obviously. But yeah, so I mean, a lot of stuff has happened to me in my life. I've not been given the best cards. However, you know, I haven't done a lot of therapy. I did when I went to a few sessions when I was a teenager at school. However, you had to go to the reception to book a session in, and I'd be too anxious to go to the reception. So after a while, I just didn't book it in. I was offered group therapy when I was first diagnosed, when I was about 20 or so, and I did do it. However, it was in the middle of the pandemic, and it was all on Zoom, and it was at 9 a.m. in the morning. So I'd be a bit cheeky and just put my camera, turn my camera off and go back to bed, because I was not in the mood at 9 a.m. in the morning over Zoom. But I think if I had that experience in person, maybe it would be better, but I think I'm more suited to one-to-one therapy, but I've not really tried it that much anyway. But yeah, a lot of my life I can't even remember. I have huge gaps in my memory because of trauma, and you know, I am trying to work through that, but I'm in a good place now. And I look at, so with my TikTok, that has really helped me a lot, like putting a lot of my energy into a creative space. And I've done some TikToks in the past where I compare me now to me when I was 15, going through one of the hardest times of my life. And it feels good to see the woman I've grown into, and how I survived that, and how I'm so thankful that I did survive that, because, you know, trigger warning for anyone, but I was suicidal and I could have done it, and I'm so glad I didn't, because I've experienced so many great things with my TikTok and my life now. I'm so happy. So sorry, I've been rambling for a while, but I don't even remember the question now. But yeah,
you're doing great. You're doing great. So it sounds like you're explaining some of the things that have happened in your life that have been traumatic, that have led you now to a place of what I would call, you know, overcoming. You're learning who you are in the moment and how you can be impactful to other people who may be going down that same road. And I'm glad that you did mention that you were suicidal at one point, because people need to hear that and see you here present and thriving and showing up on your TikTok, you know, because it's one of those things to where feelings of overwhelm, suicidal thoughts, they have been present, right? And now that you've got worldwide pandemic, other stressors, the economy changing, it's creating an additional level of stress. So people need to know that they're not alone. People need to see survivors.
Yeah, that's why I make the point of, I'm so glad I didn't do it, because
Yeah.
I've done so much since. So that's my main point to anyone who is suicidal. As I mean, at any age, but especially I think it's so hard for teenagers nowadays. And that's one of the main things I'm campaigning for, is to get better mental health services for teenagers, especially in the UK, because we have a service called CAMS in the UK. It's like CAMHS or something. And you hear a lot of stories about CAMS and how they don't treat young people the way they should. Some people have had great experience with CAMS, but you hear a lot of stories about how they overlook young people with mental health issues, like, just a phase, you're just growing up, that's just how you feel. No, this is why we're losing so many teenagers and young people at such a young age. It's ridiculous. So I definitely think there needs to be better support for teenagers and young people, because they're so vulnerable. I was so vulnerable when I was a teenager, and I had hardly any support or anything, and I had to deal with it in my early 20s instead. And I think if I had the support and the services that I needed when I was a teenager, I wouldn't have to bring it through the rest of my life, but
yeah. Life for teenagers can be tough because you're wanting to be socially accepted. What your peers think of you means a lot to you, sometimes more than what your family thinks in those moments. And figuring out who you are, what group you want to be a part of, if you fit in, those kind of things, self-esteem, self-doubt, all of these other things come into play. And Mason, you were talking about a type of a support group that you advocate for. Do you guys work with teenagers who struggle with mental health?
Yeah. On a recent episode, I speak about Motor School Council, and that's all about helping people in education. Focus a lot on mental health as well, because, like, especially with young people, because young people are very important, and mental health is very important, and that helps to fit people different needs. But yeah, I think suicide is a good topic to speak about, even though it is a trigger to some people. But we have to speak about this kind of stuff, because people do take their lives, and some people may think people being selfish, but in a way it's not, because people feel that way, and they shouldn't feel that way. But like I did a little bit in school, like education wise, not being great, and especially I went from mainstream to a special school, and in mainstream it wasn't nice. I spoke about it before, and it's not a very not nice experience. It is hard, because it's hard when teachers don't understand you, and they think they do, and they just brush it aside. But yeah, suicide is a topic that is happening more now, and like services like Chloe says, and other, there needs to be more support groups out there, and there needs to be more people that are willing to talk about it, because you don't get many people talk about it, do you, like publicly?
No, and I feel when you're that age as well, I mean, I know when I was a teenager, I was very moody. Your hormones are all over the place, obviously going through puberty. You don't understand how to you can't it's harder to deal with emotions like depression and anxiety when it's all new to you at that age, and your brain hasn't really developed enough to understand it. I'm not saying it's easier when you're an adult, however, you do know more techniques and things like that. So yeah, I feel like that's why there's so many young people in the suicide subcategory, because it's harder for young people at that age when their hormones are all over the place and they don't understand as much, and there needs to be more support.
Yeah, it's definitely hard for a young person, and even some adults. It's when you're experiencing something traumatic, it's hard to separate rational thoughts from irrational thoughts. You think you have found a solution, and maybe you have not had the support system. Like you said, your boyfriend was there for you when you needed him. Maybe you don't have a support system or family or friends that are close that can say, hey, let's think this through. Let's process, or let's consider some other options. Let's talk to somebody different. So it's hard to look at an irrational decision, a permanent decision, and say, this is not my only choice. It's hard in the moment. So and something that we've all probably noticed here recently is that there have been several deaths in the US amongst the stars, people who are well known, famous, and death by suicide. And while there are resources available, while there are hotlines available, it does not get talked about until a tragedy happens. And that's the difficult part about it, is that we have resources, we have 24/7 support lines, we have programs that are in place. But once somebody, takes their life into their own hands, once there's a fatality, that's when everybody starts talking about it again. And it really needs to be an ongoing conversation.
Yeah,
definitely. I mean, there's so many celebrities where there were signs that they were struggling, but no one really did anything, and they only noticed after it's too late, sort of thing.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. And with trauma, what's traumatic for me might not be traumatic for Mason. What's traumatic for Mason might not be traumatic for Chloe. But that emotion, that feeling, the impact of what you feel in your body, that can feel the exact same. For me, it's traumatic to have to pick up and move. It's all of the, oh my goodness, everything you've accumulated, especially for a child. If you have a child that has moved from city to city to city to city, that can be traumatic. Sometimes it could be, a car accident, a natural disaster, a breakup, family situation. So there's so many different things that can create that feeling of trauma, right? And you will feel feelings similar to, grief and loss. And it might be a totally different situation, but we all hurt. We all feel that same impact from whatever that situation is.
yeah.
So, right?
That's it. Because trauma is a very traumatic word, shall we say? Because like you say, it's gonna be different for everyone, and I don't think we hear this word enough, really, because it's a rare word, I'd say, isn't it? Because we don't hear it said enough. And it can be like even having a diagnosis of anxiety, depression, an illness. That could be that could be that in itself, because
Yes.
it's a slow process normally, isn't it? Like when you get diagnosed with something, and it takes time to understand it yourself. And everyone will have a question of why me, or something like that. Why do I have this? Why do I have to deal with these kind of things? But that's all the meaning of the word traumatic, isn't it?
Yeah, that's true.
Sometimes I've as I said, I've been dealt some bad cards in my life, and it's sometimes when it's still happens to this day. If something really traumatic happens, I'm like, really, anything else? I think I've taken enough, but it doesn't stop, and that's just life, unfortunately. But there's ways of dealing with it, and I've learned how to deal with it.
Yeah. Yes. We've got to find ways, haven't we, like just to deal with something. It might be hobbies now for you, Chloe, like doing your videos, like Star Wars. That might be kind of a little escape for you to do them, or to do a bunch of them and feel like you're in your little element. Like I'm somewhere else now. I'm my own Star Wars character.
Yeah, when I started TikTok, I was in a really bad place a couple of years ago. I'd just experienced a sexual assault. I'd moved back to my parents' house. I had no money. I'd left uni. I was broke, and I was in a really bad place. And just suddenly one day, I just decided to try out this TikTok thing and make silly little videos on a passion I love, which is Star Wars. And 2 years later, I've got 50,000 amazing followers and amazing supporters. I love going to I love everyone's support. It's really made me so happy, and creating content is my love now. And my favorite thing is going to Comic-Cons and events and things and seeing loads of people there, and hearing your experiences, hearing like how people love my videos and things. Obviously it's a very kind of selfish thing to hear, but it's really heartwarming, and it means a lot to me that something I put so much time and effort into is making other people happy. So yeah.
I like that. That sounds like an awesome way to cope.
Yes, it's been pretty good. Yeah. I mean, I've always been a creative person all my life. I grew up as a dancer. I was dancing from 3 to 18. I did art and photography at school. I was always doing creative stuff. So I think it helps if you are a creative person like me, is to put any negative energy from trauma and stuff into a creative process. Even if it's something silly like building a Lego set, or I don't know, even doing a little puzzle. I love doing puzzles and things like that. It keeps my mind distracted and stops overthinking and things like that. So yeah, definitely put your energy into creative resources, is what I'd say.
Yeah.
Yeah, a puzzle is very takes time, doesn't it? Depends on how many pictures you get on a box, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. I mean, I used to love doing them all last year, just because it would take my mind off things. And I haven't done one in ages, so which is really bad, but I will get back into it sometime.
Do you, because like with Star Wars, they have these like sculptures that you can build like the Falcon and stuff like that. Have you done any like those kind of things?
I've done the TIE Fighter one, and yeah, I love doing Lego sets as well for Star Wars. Those are great, but I haven't done many of the other models and stuff. I need to.
Yeah, it'd be hard. That'd be hard. Like actually, I for Christmas, I built like a football club stadium. It has like a sculpture thing where it's very hard, because they make it look easy on the box, and then when you get it, it's got all in tiny pieces, and like you've got to glue bits together and stuff.
Yeah.
But like I keep it on this table actually where I do the podcast, so I look at it. Say I done a good job, but did a good job.
My new passion, I'm getting back into my dancer roots. I've actually started pole dancing, which is actually, obviously when you say that, it's like, really? So that's the immediate thought of like a strip club and stuff like that, but it's actually such a good way to get fit. My arms have been killing ever since I started doing it. But you feel so good. It helps you feel so confident as well, helps with self-esteem. You just feel amazing. And you like learning these tricks, you're like, wow, I didn't know I could do that, but I've done it. So yeah, definitely. That's my new passion at the minute is pole dance.
You know, when you said that, the first thing I thought is that requires a lot of strength.
Gosh, yeah, it took me 4 weeks just to be able to grip onto the pole and move around it. But yeah, I finally got to a place where I can do a couple tricks. But yeah, it's so hard, but it's so good for you physically and mentally as well, just putting yourself into a challenging situation. Because yeah, I remember in my third lesson I was getting really annoyed. I wanted to snap that pole in half because I couldn't do any of the moves, and when it comes to things that I love like dance, if I can't do it straight away, I'm really annoyed at myself because I think I should be able to do this. I've been a dancer all my life, why can't I do this? And I was so frustrated, but I thought, no, this is what happens. I need to push through this hurdle, and and then the next week after that I did amazing. So it's always that little bump that you need to push through.
Yeah,
that's awesome. Yeah, that's awesome. And that's a great way of discovering coping skills. You know, different people have different hobbies, talents, interests, and maybe there's something that they used to do. Like, for example, you said you used to be a dancer. So now you've recreated that and developed this new hobby, which is a way to cope and minimize any feelings of anxiety, depression, and, you know, keep you focused and give you something to, you know, something that's motivating. So that's definitely a way that people can learn to cope with some of their stressors, is to maybe sit back and think about what things they found fulfilling and that they enjoyed, and what was a talent or hobby for them before. And even sometimes figuring out, what can I do that's brand new? Because, you know, that learning something new always requires a lot of focus and concentration. So I appreciate you sharing that.
Yeah, no, I agree. I always want to start a new project when I'm going through a bad time, and I always like to base it on some sort of skill I have. So yeah, I've never done pole before, but yeah, a few weeks ago when I was going through a bit of a rough patch, I was like, let's try it. Definitely didn't know what I was in for in terms of how difficult it was, but I'm so glad I did. And yeah, I love trying something new. It really helps you to put your mind on a different path and a new creative path.
Yeah, it's it's like you're doing it all the time now, aren't you? Because
yeah, every Monday is my class. So yeah.
Like I see people like you must get dizzy if you do it, like go round and round all the time.
Luckily I have a lot of training and spinning and stuff, so I know how to cope. But
yeah, like maybe a good way to practice outside of like doing it, if like you go on the monkey bars and just go do flips or something like that.
Yeah, maybe. I don't think the kids in the play park would like that so much, but yeah.
No, they'll probably just stare, won't they?
Yeah.
Let you do your thing.
So what are your sort of creative hobbies, Mason?
What my hobbies are, what I like to do is I like going for like football. Like I can just do football all day if I wanted to. Like I live quite close to like a football court, so I would do that. I'm not very good at pole dance, unfortunately, so I can't do that. like in the main, like I am very good at yeah, I like to say I'm good at football, but I like to coach more. I like to coach it more nowadays. Um, I say I'm old, but yeah, I can't. I like, due to my Crohn's really, and I suffer from my joints quite a lot. I'm better at coaching than actually playing. Even though I do enjoy playing football, it's one of my creative hobbies. I used to think, like with art actually, I would say I'm quite good at art, but like drawing. I used to like like draw quite a lot when I was younger. Um, and I I never thought I was good at art, but I did an exam at school and stuff, and it actually turned out pretty well. And yeah, art is quite a secretive passion of mine. But if I'm bored, if the electrics are down in the house, I'll probably get like pad out or something. um, but yeah, there's so many different interests. Like I do like gaming. If I in my spare time I'll go on the PlayStation. I actually bought the Skywalker Saga, the Lego game actually
The
today.
Lego one. Oh,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
good.
It came today, and like, people say to me, like some of my friends who are not don't like Star Wars and stuff, they'll say, oh, the Lego, like, because of course when you picture Lego, you think of 5-year-olds and 6-year-olds, don't you? People can, and because playing the original, the complete saga, I think it's 2007 it came out, it just brings back so many memories because all of those games were in one, and now they've got the whole 9 games. Even better because they're actually talking. I think now, aren't they? Like in the game, you have the characters talking and stuff, and bits that wasn't actually in the original. So yeah, I am a bit of a gamer secretly. In my spare time. Not many
But that's
people.
all right too, to have hobbies that you keep to yourself, that you don't have to share and things.
Yeah.
I think it's all right to have both, really.
That's it. And not too many people like playing like FIFA against me. Not too many of my friends. Um, Sometimes to let them win, because I've got every single game. Like I'll get all Star Wars games or all Doctor Who games, even if the Doctor Who games were bad, which they are.
Yeah.
Like the 2 recent ones were pretty bad, and I think they're I heard that they're supposed to doing a Lego game of Doctor Who, which would be lovely because
Wow.
I do like the Lego games, but yeah, 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 it's a hobby of mine. What about you, Angela? What were your secret hobbies or interests?
Oh, goodness. Not pole dancing either.
Right.
But I do love dancing. When I was younger, I was the cheerleader, majorette kind of girl. And so, and because I could always dance, I can draw a little bit. I like to draw. I haven't had much time to do that. I do like plants. That's kind of my love. So I've got plants all over the place.
I see that.
Yeah, and I got some down below that. But at the beginning of the pandemic, I started doing the little kitchen garden where you plant seeds and leave them in your kitchen window. So we had beans, we had an avocado plant kind of sprouting out. So I did a lot of discovering. That was kind of my thing, is that I've always had a green thumb, but I wanted to plant some things and just kind of watch it grow and go through that process. I just like to have fun. Everybody who listens in, they probably hear me laughing all the time. So I like to joke and laugh and be silly. I am a kid at heart. I was that kid that never thought I would grow up. And all of a sudden I looked in the mirror and I was all grown up. I was adulting totally against my own will.
Same.
Yeah. But yeah, I like to draw, I like to paint, and I've got to Oh goodness, I've got to create some space to get back to that, because for me, it was definitely therapeutic, even though I had a little bit of skill. I could make things look good. I could make it look like a masterpiece. But for me, it was more about how it felt. It was the feeling. Did I feel like it was an escape? Was I able to relax? It was really calming. So I got to figure that one out.
Yeah, I think you don't have to be good at, well, it helps if you're good, but you don't have to be good at your hobbies and things like that, as long as you get joy from it. And for me, it's like the little goals that I can achieve. Like if I do a new trick in pole and I've been struggling with that for weeks, I feel it's such an amazing feeling. That's sort of proudness and achievement. It really helps you therapeutically, as you said.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I love it.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Have you, do you have to water your plants over here then quite a lot, I presume, Angela?
Yes. It's storming out there now, but some days I just sit them all out on the porch and let them get the sunlight and sunshine and repot.
I've actually, because in this house we get flowers every week, every Thursday, normally, and I'm always told, because I do my work at home, I have to look out for the flowers. So
That's right.
yeah, every week a new flower comes, and like every week, and I don't mind flowers. I can't wait till the summertime when it's summer flowers, so because I do like sunflowers and stuff when they come out. So like I like doing that, and I went strawberry picking like start of the pandemic, and I never went strawberry picking before, really, just to get strawberries. And those little things are actually quite fun, just to collect strawberries. And you kind of don't want to eat them because they look really nice. They just want to stare at them.
Yes.
And
yes. So there's a place where I live in Tennessee, and they always have a strawberry festival. So they got, maybe it's similar. You pick all the strawberries you want. People have contests on who can grow the biggest strawberry and all that goodness.
Oh.
Yeah. I do love fruit. Yeah. But yeah, that I think that looks in really well, because hobbies are very much into how trauma affects us, because we do that. Like if someone, like bullying is linked in as well, because like if you're getting bullied and you kind of not want to do, like and us now, I presume that we may have the confidence to go back to that situation and confront them and do something back. And then we always think, is that worth doing that? Because it's not going to help matters, really. But you kind of sometimes you want to let your anger out, how you're feeling inside, and then that makes you feel better. But it is hard, isn't it?
Yeah, it can be.
It can be indeed. Yeah. So last couple of things. Is there anything else, guys, that we want to talk about trauma or anything?
My brain just gone blank.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I've covered most things. As I've mentioned before, unfortunately, I developed sort of a memory loss due to my trauma. I don't know if that's common, Angela, but a lot of my past, like you can ask me what I've been through, I can't tell you because I can't remember a lot. And sometimes I'll be talking with my sister and she'll bring up a memory or something, and I just don't remember it at all, which is kind of a shame. But it's also I know it was a coping mechanism for me at the time. So, and I know I've created some wonderful memories in my adult life anyway. And I do still have memories of my childhood, some great memories of good times and things like that. Just a lot of it isn't there. And that can be hard as well. But I think it's important to remember that there is still you still have a whole life ahead of you that you can create new memories instead.
Yeah. So that is common. Memory loss, as it relates to traumatic experiences, that is common. I hear people ask about that, and I definitely suggest talking with a professional to help figure out ways that will help prompt, thoughts from your past and memories and things like that. Because sometimes what happens is that when you're triggered, you develop that avoidant behavior. You would rather avoid the thought of harm or hurt. And so your brain keeps going over that path, like, oh, we bypassed this for years. Let's just, but, maybe there are pictures, maybe there are some objects that can help to rekindle those thoughts from your past, but definitely that is common.
Okay, I've never thought about, because I do love looking at old pictures, even though sometimes I can think of what I was like at that time. I do still love looking at the old pictures, as I said, and thinking about how much I've changed. So I've never really thought about going through old pictures to rekindle some memories. So I'll probably do that soon.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Cool.
Yeah, that's a good idea, because like you never know. Hopefully it's a good memory. If you like when you look back, you don't want bad memories popping up, but it's hard, isn't it? But yeah, I get lots. I have loads of photos in my drawer, like and stuff. Like it's nice, isn't it? Like you take all these photos throughout your life, and you rarely have probably go back on your camera roll or like to 2010 or 2012. So it's a nice idea. I like that idea.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And get you a professional counselor to help you process through things. Like Mason said, if it's not a memory that's a very good one, you definitely want to know how to package all of those emotions up in the right boxes. So.
Yeah, that's a very good idea. So Angela, do you have anything to finish up our talk with before we go?
I think that's my last.
Yeah, last.
My last little plug is seek professional counseling.
That's it.
We're human too. Yeah, seek professional counseling as it relates to trauma, anxiety, depression, suicidal ideation. Going to counseling can be viewed as self-care, right? No judgment. You help to create that space that you want. So I just want to put that out there to encourage those who may have been hesitant or afraid or wondering. It's okay. And normally counselors and therapists offer a free consultation, so there's no loss. You can ask as many questions as you need to, but definitely do not suffer in silence. Seek professional counseling.
That's lovely. Chloe, is there any last words from you that you want to say to everyone?
I'll just add on to that. I never really thought of counselling as self-care before, but that's such a good thing. Like just like running a bath for yourself and doing a face mask and having a glass of wine or something. It's as simple and as everyday as that. Seriously, it's nothing to be ashamed about or embarrassed about. It's about you and spending some time on you. It's one of those activities that should be involved in the silly little things as well, like as I said, running a bath, getting a massage as well.
That's right.
That's it. I completely agree, and I think we've done really well today because we spoke about really good topics like how to overcome trauma, good experiences and bad experiences. And I think it's been a very good awakening to mental health today.
That's right.
Yeah.
Definitely, it's been good.
Yeah. So thank you, girls, ladies. It's been amazing. It's been amazing to have you, to talk about this today. And
Yes.
I hope you've enjoyed it, Chloe.
I've loved it. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, to everyone listening and watching, we hope you enjoyed it as well, as much as we did. And we'll see you next time. See you guys.